Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Plainfield East Boys Golf Parent Meeting video. It'll be a pretty quick video. He's just going to go over some of the basics. So at the end, if you have any questions, please email me anytime. We have two coaches here for the golf team. I am Coach Young. I am the head coach, the varsity coach, and then the assistant coach is Coach Adamson. He is the fresh soft coach. So the way the team works is we really have two teams. Coach Adamson is in charge of the fresh soft team. Sometimes we call that the JV team, but it's only freshmen and sophomores. I'm in charge of the varsity team, which could be freshmen through seniors. And when we play in matches and tournaments, usually we get to bring 8 golfers at each level, and then the top 4 scorers count for our team. It's a pretty short season. This is a timeline here. The season started this past Monday, and you can see it's just about 6-7 weeks long. So this coming up Monday, we have our first varsity invite, and then we do have like a week of practice, which is very nice, before we have our first varsity and JV 9-hole matches. So usually during the week, we have 9-hole matches against other schools, and then sometimes on the weekends, or really sometimes during the week, we might have an 18-hole varsity tournament, and Fresh Soft does have a couple 18-hole tournaments as well. But the majority of the matches are just 9 holes. The Fresh Soft season ends, you can see it on September 20th, so it's a very quick season, and then September 27th is when the varsity postseason play begins. There is an electronic calendar, a digital calendar that we update, so please make sure you check your email for that link. That's the best place to see the most recent calendar. So here's a little schedule snapshot of this past week and this upcoming week. There's a couple things I did want to highlight. We do have picture day on Tuesday, the 15th, before school even starts. So the guys got polos yesterday, and I sent you an email yesterday afternoon about what the guys should wear. So we wanted to wear the new gray polos with khaki colored shorts, and then athletic shoes or golf shoes. No sandals, no hats in the picture. You should receive an order form from the athletic office, an email link essentially. But I was told pictures can be ordered after pictures, so it's not like you have to hand in anything on picture day. So on Tuesday, we're going to meet at the football stadium at Plainfield East at 2:20, and then we will have practice at school. Just meeting with the golfers, going over some of the expectations for the seasons. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be at the range practicing. And because school starts on Thursday, this would be a good opportunity if your golfer needs to store clubs at school Wednesday night, so they have them ready for Thursday of next week. After practice on Wednesday, you can pick up your golfer, or they can ride the minibus back to school with us, or you could drive them back to school, and we will show you where we can store their clubs. It's outside in a locked storage container near the tennis courts. So the Wednesday after practice will be a great day to get the clubs to school if your golfer needs them for Thursday. So golf clubs cannot be brought on school buses, like to and from school. So they will not be able to, bring them on the bus in the morning to school. That's not going to be an option. So it's always one of the challenges, is figuring out logistics with the clubs. So for practices, practices are at the range from 2:30 to 4. We ask that golfers wear a polo shirt, any polo shirt. It doesn't have to be a Plainfield East one, and nice shorts. So at practices, we work on putting. We go to the range. They have a great chipping facility, short game area there at the range. We go over technique, the rules of the game, etiquette, every aspect of golf. Usually we split into small groups, and if your golfer doesn't already have a range pass, soon their name will be in the computer system at the range. They'll be able to go whenever they want, probably starting next Monday. Matches and tournaments, like I mentioned earlier, we can bring 8 golfers at each level, and the best 4 scores count for our team. And we'll let golfers and parents know at least one day before if they're playing in a match. Some weeks we have a few days in a row, back-to-back matches, so it's really important, to check that email communication, and we'll let golfers know, at practice or at the match, like, yes, here's who's playing tomorrow. So they need to make sure they're paying attention to that. Unfortunately, not all golfers will get to play in every match. A few slides ago, you saw we had 12 golfers at the fresh soft level and 13 at the varsity level. We can only play 8 in each match and tournament. So for transportation, golfers to practices, they can drive or ride, or parents can take them to and from practice if they'd like to. We will take a minibus to practice each day and back to school each day, so that is also an option. If golfers are riding the minibus back to Plainfield East, we'll get back there about 4:15. If you're picking them up at the range, 4 o'clock. Golfers, some choose to stay after 4 and continue to hit balls or practice. That's fine, but they will not be supervised. So at 4 o'clock is when Coach Adamson and I will be leaving the range. For matches and tournaments, the golfers must ride the bus to most courses. There's a few listed below that they can drive to or ride with a parent to. They can be taken home by a parent from a course, but there's a certain form that needs to be submitted. And I'll send out that form. It's also online at a couple places. So the courses that golfers can drive to are really like the close courses. So Naperbrook, Wedgwood, that is our home course. Bolingbrook, obviously that's where we practice. And then Mistwood is another course we'll be playing this year that golfers can drive to. So clubs are a big thing. Like, what do golfers do with clubs? The golfers that drive usually just store them in their car or bring them home every day. But the golfers that don't drive to school, the underclassmen especially, usually they just ride the minibus back to school and lock their clubs in that storage container I mentioned. And then usually parents just pick them up at school at 4:15 if that is the case, if they need to get their clubs back to school. But it is always a challenge, especially if golfers want to take their clubs home on the weekend to play, which we encourage, or go to the range. Then there's always the question of how do they get their clubs back on Monday. So it is something to make sure you are aware of. So for spectator information, spectators, parents, grandparents, relatives are more than welcome to come to matches and tournaments, but there are a few rules. So there's no communication allowed between golfers and spectators once the round starts. You are allowed to help look for lost balls. So we do encourage you to for caddy, to be ahead of the golfers. When they're teeing off, you could be 300 yards ahead, kind of off to the side, of course, maybe hiding behind a tree, but that way you can at least get, a view of where their ball is if you need to help them look for the ball. You can say things like nice shot, but you're not allowed to give advice or be talking to them where it would look like you're giving advice. So if that is the case, your golfer may be issued a warning and then a penalty, and could even be disqualified if they're talking to spectators. So we highly encourage parents and relatives and friends to come out and watch, but they do have to follow these rules. We just the easiest thing is just stay at least 30 yards away, so then it's not going to look like you're giving them any advice or communicating with them. So for the fees, there are a few fees here I want you to be aware of. There is the district athletics fee for sports. It's the same for all sports. It is a fantastic deal for golf. I'm not sure exactly what that fee is. We don't see any of it. It's just paid directly, charged directly to the student account. And it covers things like transportation, busing, and greens fees, which again is a great deal. I mean, golfers that are playing this year get to play, Bolingbrook, that's over $100 a round. Mistwood, that's over $100 a round. So they do get some really great deals. For the range pass, if your golfer doesn't already have a range pass, there is a $150 fee that will be paid directly to Coach Adamson or myself, cash or check to PEHS. Do not pay the range. So we've kind of worked a deal out with the Bolingbrook range to reduce that fee. For golfers, the school will pay that fee, and then we're reimbursing the school, or really they're paying it from our boys golf account. So if your golfer does not have a Bolingbrook range pass, they will need to pay a $150 fee to Coach Adamson and myself, cash or check, made out to PEHS. And the best thing about this is once their name is in the computer system, hopefully starting next week, they can use the range whenever they want. They can go on weekends, they can go on off days, they can, go later at night. Anytime outside of scheduled practice, they are allowed to go. We just ask, of course, that they understand they're representing Plainfield East High School, to take care of the range, to follow directions, to be mature and a respectful, um, participant out there at the range. There is also a polo shirt. We handed out a nice gray Nike polo. So that is $50 fee. Again, paid directly to Coach Adamson or myself, cash or check to PEHS. We have an optional hat, same hat as the past couple of years. So if your golf already has one, it's the same hat. That is a $25 cash or check to PEHS, and that can be given to coaches as well. So the two important things to know are the range pass. If your golfer doesn't have that, that's a requirement to get that range pass, and that needs to be paid directly to us. And then, of course, the polo. Those are the two main fees. So those are the main points of the season. And I'm sure if you're new to the team, you might have questions. You could contact myself or Coach Adamson. Here's our contact information. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.